The Custom Shape tool in Photoshop is a great way to make awesome vector artwork. And if you're not the best at making vector art with the pen tool, you have access to this really fantastic library of a whole bunch of custom shapes, and you can download free custom shapes off the internet. That's what makes it so cool. So let's get started. Your custom shape tool is found underneath your path selector tool, which is that black arrow there, and sometimes you'll see a ellipse at that button underneath that arrow there, or a rectangle. But the custom shape tool that I want to play with today is this little amoeba shape, and right next to it it says Custom Shape Tool. Now I'm going to go up to the top of my screen, and I see a little icon of a tree there, and if I click on that, yours might be a tree, it might be an arrow or a doggy paw. If you click on that, you'll see your Custom Shape Library that has a whole bunch of really great custom shapes. Now, if you aren't seeing as many as I have here, you can click on the little gear icon, and then you can go down to the word all there. Click on the word all, and then click on the word append. That will open up all of the different custom shape libraries and put them available for you to use. Now, something else that's really cool before we get into actually playing with these custom shapes is that you can download other custom shapes and load them into your custom shape library. All you have to do is go on Google, do a search for free Photoshop custom shapes, and DeviantArt is also a great place to go for these custom shapes. You'll download the custom shape file, and then when you're ready to load it into your library, you'll click on that little gear icon, and then you'll click on the word load shapes there, and you'll load the files that you have downloaded onto your library so that you can easily access it. Okay, so let's use one of the custom shapes that's available. I'll start with this leaf ornament. And what I'm going to do is show you the difference between the pixels mode and the shape mode. Of course, anytime we make a new object, we make a new layer either by hitting Shift Command N or by clicking the Create a New Layer icon located next to the trash can. Now, by default, your custom shapes may be on the pixels mode. Now watch what happens. If I draw a shape with the pixels mode, it creates a raster object. If you look in the layer 1 layer icon there in the palette, you'll see that it looks like any other layer. But the problem with using the pixels mode is that if you want to change the size of this shape, you're really limited. You can shrink this shape down, but watch what happens if I hit Command T and then I increase the size of this shape. Look at that. It gets pixelated. That's because the pixels mode is a raster object. It's made out of little squares, little dots of color. And even when we render it, see if you zoom in really close, that's going to not look very good when it's printed. It's going to look kind of blurry and pixelated. So for as long as possible, I want to encourage you guys to work in the shape mode. The shape mode is going to be a vector-based mode. And watch what happens. I can hold down the Shift button. I can draw my shape, and now I can Command T to bring up my transform controls. I can change the size of my shape, and look at this. No matter how much I zoom in, It's not going to look blurry and pixelated. The edge is going to be nice and crisp and clean. Isn't that cool? So I'll get this shape to completely fill in my document there. Looking pretty fancy. And if you'll notice, the shape mode looks a little bit different in your layer panel. It says shape 1 next to it, and instead of seeing the checkerboard background, the shape actually fills up the whole thumbnail of that layer, and then a little vector mask is next to it. And those of you who are paying attention to me resizing this might have also noticed that a path is drawn around this shape. And that path is a little silvery line. It's not going to be there when you print or when you save this as a JPEG. That path is just there to let you know that this is a vector shape. Okay, so I'm going to lower the opacity of this and I'll put a few more layers on here. I want to show you that you can actually change and make your own custom shapes as well. So let me find a nice, easy shape here. How about, let's start with this flower. Now again, I'm on the shape mode, and I'm going to just draw my shape. So what if I wanted to change this shape and make it kind of my own? I can hit A to bring up the path selector icon, and then when I click on my shape, look, you can see the anchor points, the Bezier curves pop up. So maybe one of the changes I want to make is to increase the length of some of these petals here. I can do that by holding down the command button. And look at that, I can stretch out these petals. Command, stretch out the petals, click, stretch out the petals, click, stretch out the petals. Isn't that cool? So you can take a pre-existing custom shape and then you can make changes to it and make it your own. Okay, so when I have this the way I want it to look, I can then click on this shape and then click Define Custom Shape, and I'll call this Weird Flower. Now, anytime I want to draw this specific type of flower, make a new layer, go to my Custom Shape tool, scroll down to my Custom Shape Library, find that weird flower, and watch. I can just keep on drawing with it. I can draw as many as I want. So using the Custom Shape tool to manipulate pre-existing custom shapes is one way to make your own, but you can also use the pen tool. So I'm going to use the pen tool just to make a really, really simple shape. Notice I'm on path mode. It doesn't really matter if you're on the path mode or if you're on the shape mode. Draw and enclose my path. And then I'm going to click on my path and then click Define Custom Shape. Call this Weird Heart. And now anytime I want to make that shape again, watch, I just go to my Custom Shape Library after clicking on my Custom Shape icon, and I can draw that heart over and over and over again.